So I'd like to welcome everybody to the Montclair City Council meeting. And we will begin with the invocation and pledge allegiance. I don't think we have anybody here for the invocation, so Councilmember Rue, would you mind doing the invocation? So please stand, and then who's doing the pledge?
Councilmember Martinez.
Okay, Councilmember Rue with the invocation.
Please join me as we gather together tonight in this council chamber. We hope to do the business of the city. We hope to do the will of our Creator. There are many languages in which we call his name, but we all call on him for help. We call on each other in times of need, in times of want, in times of happiness, and in times of joy. Let us continue to do that. Let's not have the divisions that are so prominent in our globe today divide this city. Help keep us focused on the mission at hand. Help keep us focused on our residents. Let us be mindful of who they are. Let us never, ever forget the last, the least, the lost, and the lonely who are in this city tonight, only steps from this city hall. Let us help empower them. Let us use what we have been given, this gift on this dais, to uplift the human spirit, to lift it as high as we can, and to forever praise our Creator in whatever name you call him. We ask this in the name of the only one who can help us. Amen.
Amen. Okay, Councilmember Martinez.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
To the republic for which it stands,
one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty.
liberty and justice for all.
Okay, let's have roll call, please.
Councilmember Lopez. Councilmember Martinez. Here. Councilmember Rue.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson.
I'm here.
Mayor Dutray.
So now we have public comments. This is an opportunity for members of the public to speak to the council and on any items on the agenda or any items not on the agenda. You have 5 minutes. And I'll ask the city clerk if you have any speakers.
We received one speaker card from Bill Kefman.
Hello, Bill.
We're back. After the election, we figured we'd let the dust settle. I understand there's still one seat up for grabs here, Denny's. But good evening, and I'm only here to just reacquaint you with us. We're ready, willing, and able as we were prior to. I don't know where the ordinance stands with the city manager and with the consultants, and I'm sure he can't respond to me now. But I just see cities like Pomona raking in these hundreds of thousands of dollars. And Montclair could do the same thing, especially in our particular location. So if there's anything I can do, or if the consultant needs any questions, feel free to call on me, because we're just waiting for you folks. And once we get that ordinance, and again, these ordinances started at like 200 pages. Now cities are in like 10-page ordinances. They don't need a big ordinance. There's so many, I don't think you need to plagiarize, but I think you need to review some of the short, sweet ones, because they number one, the state is so comprehensive on its ordinances that the city just sort of has to tailor it to its own. And it doesn't take brain surgery, I could tell you, because most of it's been done. And some of the ones that have been done recently, and I won't go into what cities they are, again, they're 8 or 10 pagers, and they cover the important things. And as we go forward, I think people become more and more informed about what's going on in the cannabis world. Again, we call ours a wellness center, because we'll have half of the center will be strictly for herbal. There'll be herbalists there. They won't have any contact with the cannabis side, and that's who we're developing. We're developing one in Laguna Woods, And I think it would be extremely important for all of the residents of your city to know that there's a bona fide herbal center with college-trained herbalists that are there that can also offer acupuncture and other things. Other than that, that's it. Hopefully I see the same faces the next time I come here.
Thank you. Okay, that's it with public comment. We'll now go down to consent calendar. And I'll start with my right. Any items to be pulled on the right?
No, sir.
My left? Anybody wants to pull anything on my left as well? Okay, can I get a motion, please?
Mr. Mayor, I move adoption of the consent calendar as presented.
Moved by Mr. Councilmember Lopez, second by Mayor Pro Tem Johnson. Please, I think we have our electronic voting. It's 5-0. Thank you. All right. Next item is under communication, and I'll start with the Human Services Department.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. I just have a few quick updates. I wanted to remind you to please mark your calendars for our Holly Jolly event. It's scheduled for Thursday, December 5th from 6 to 8:30 at our youth center. The holiday home decoration contests applications are due on Friday, December 6th at 6 p.m., and those applications can be found on our city website. And the last date to mark down is our Dashing Through Montclair on Saturday, December 7th. And that will be, Santa will follow a route throughout Montclair. And they invite toys to be donated as the tour goes through the city. But please check our city website for the route and stops that it'll make along the way. And finally, I just want to mention that our donation bins for our holiday toy and food basket have been placed at locations around Montclair. I want to thank those of you that have already donated. They just went out last week, and we've had quite a few donations already come in, so thank you for that. And our police and fire departments will be holding a food and toy drive at Costco, the Montclair Costco, to support our holiday toy and food basket programs. Those drives will be held on Friday, December 6th and 13th from 10 to 2 p.m. Thank you again.
All right. Thank you very much. City Attorney.
Nothing from me this evening, Mr.
Okay,
Mayor.
City Manager.
No items, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I want to announce that the Montclair High School boys water polo team played in the CIF final last Saturday in Division 6. They did well. They fought in a hard game. Unfortunately, they lost, I believe, by 1. And I believe they're going on to, I think, state games is next. But nevertheless, I did talk to principal of Montclair High School, and we will find some way to recognize that team from the city of Montclair. Second of all, I want to announce that our next city council meeting, which is Monday, December 2nd, the general plan, along with the other documents that we discussed last month at a workshop, will be on the agenda. Currently, the Planning Commission met last week, and they're meeting tomorrow to finish off their review of all those documents. And so it will be in front of us on, again, Monday, December the 2nd. I would encourage you all to review the plans, get any questions, get your questions to staff, and we'll go from there. Third of all, the last council meeting, we had a presentation by the county of San Bernardino regarding stormwater issues, and I realize one of our members has got a conflict, so I'll make it short. But I asked that our San Bernardino County Council of Governments coordinate among the cities in the county of here in San Bernardino regarding that issue, and that we are a little better organized when the hearings actually take place. Fourth, I want to let you know that the I-10 freeway landscaping, obviously there's no landscape right now, even though the whiting is completed. So the bids for that project will be a separate contractor, will be in sometime this spring, and then construction will begin. It's supposed to be about a 1-year process for the landscaping to be placed in on the 10 Freeway Expressway. That includes the landscaping both at the Central and Monte Vista on-ramps and off-ramps in that area. Fifth of all, I am very proud of the passage of Proposition 36. I think it's 68% yes vote, which is the highest of all the propositions adopted in California. And Proposition 36 did very well in many jurisdictions, including Los Angeles County, for example. I think Proposition 36 is a message that the California voters are saying loud and clear, both from Democrats and Republicans and independents, that they care about their security and they want the issues on the streets to be better resolved. Those who are committing crimes, even if they're petty crimes or petty drug crimes, that there is a stronger mechanism in place to deal with it, and obviously give law enforcement that authority they had prior to the passage, I believe, Prop 46 or Prop 47 10 years ago. So I think that is instrumental. Hopefully there's no court challenges or the governor decides to curtail it. But I believe that's important and a strong message from the California voters. And lastly, I just want to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Obviously, this is the time that you get together with your family, and so I wish you a wonderful time with your family and friends on a special day. And I'll begin with Councilmember Martinez.
Thank you. Excuse me. This past Saturday, Montclair Place hosted over 700 Girl Scouts for an event which served as an opportunity for the girls to earn many badges. And thanks to Mayor Pro Tem Denise Johnson, I was connected with the event and I was able to serve on a democracy panel where I sat next to a Assembly Member Blanca Rubio's representative, as well as a judge, a criminal judge from West Covina. And we spoke to some girls in the audience about what it's like in our respective jobs, and specifically what it's like serving as a woman and the types of things that we face serving as a woman in a male-dominated field. And they were able to earn their badges by sitting and listening to us speak. So I had an opportunity to do that. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Johnson, for setting that up for me.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have two quick items. I wanted to commend the senior students of Montclair High School. I was with them a couple of weeks ago for the Ready to Launch program, and what that program does is to make sure that the Montclair High School students are ready to go into the workforce when they graduate from high school. So it was my second time there. The first time, I went there looking for some high school students. We all know what stereotypical high school students look like, the way they dress, the way they move their bodies, et cetera. And so I went there looking for high school students, but didn't see any. I couldn't find any high school students. What I did see was a very large group of junior executives. And I saw that same thing this go around. I have probably hired hundreds of people over the course of my career. Most of them were not as prepared as those Montclair High School students. So our next step is we'll be making sure that each one of those students, I think it's over 800, each one of those students will be getting certificates of recognition that they can take as part of their workforce portfolio. And then I also, very quickly, I'll share all the details at the next meeting, but it was my honor to represent the city of Montclair last week at the National League of Cities Conference. I have copious notes that I need to share with all of you, but I'll do that at the next meeting. But the one thing that I took away from that meeting that did not surprise me, because I've seen it every time I go to some league conference, what I've learned is that Montclair is far ahead of the curve to other cities. There are things that are done here in Montclair. So when I'd go to the workshop and they'd be talking about, for example, cybersecurity and all the things that need to happen to keep your community secure. And as they were talking, I was like, we did that. They made us take that test. Our IT team is all over it. Or when they talk about things like securing funds, as a matter of fact, the National League of Cities has created a an educational webinar. It's a 4-week series because there's so many cities in America who just don't know how to get grants. Well, where's Alyssa? We have people who do that. So there, everything that they talked about, well, almost everything. There are some things that we probably need to do different, but almost everything that they talked about, I just went, Montclair already does that. Tell me something new. So we used to hear from our previous mayor, Paul Eaton. He used to say all the time, we're small but mighty. And you know what? All this time later, he's been gone. He lives in heaven now, but he's still right. We are small but mighty. So at our next meeting, I'll share more information about the details of what we really do right, and there's a couple little things that we could change a bit. Mr. Mayor, that concludes my
Great.
comments.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Lopez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I believe 3 items. I have a few residents, Mr. City Manager, that were inquiring that live on Monte Vista. There has been, unfortunately, a lot more diesel, high-profile vehicles going up and down Monte Vista. And last I checked, that was still not a truck route. But have there been restrictions temporarily removed so they can access that street because of any construction in the area?
No, none
Okay.
that I'm aware of.
If the residents that were on that street, they would like to see those folks ticketed, is what they told me. I just said I'll pass on the information, but there have been diesels going by up and down Monte Vista and actually getting stopped at the bottleneck. But anyhow, if you can act on that, please, staff, that would be greatly appreciated. Next, I wanted to back up. There was, at a meeting maybe a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago, some staff that were here discussing their, bringing forward their own labor issues. But one staff member said that he was the one who was responsible for putting up all the Christmas decor on the poles that light up at night. And I noticed that they're up. So I forgot that young man's name, but I very much wanted to let him know that he is appreciated and seen, and I appreciate the decor that is up on the poles this time. So convey to him and anyone else that helped my thanks and appreciation, and their work does not go unnoticed. They are appreciated. And then it's obviously this is our last meeting before Thanksgiving, and I usually do this every year. I do want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. May we all count our blessings, big or small. But let's also remember our military men and women who are not able to be with their families this holiday season. Some of them are in safe lands and some not so much, but they're out there on our behalf and they're away from their families. So let's keep them in prayer. May God continue to protect them, and may they be home by next Thanksgiving at the very latest. But remember our troops, please, and our first responders, who are actually those in the hospitals that work the hospitals on the holiday, the police and firemen. Keep them in mind. As those of us that have the blessing and benefit of being with our families, friends, and loved ones, let's remember those who aren't. And I will read my annual statement. This is from President Abraham Lincoln in October of 1863, just a snippet of his official Thanksgiving proclamation that started this all. It says, "No human counsel hath devised, nor hath any mortal hand worked out these great things. They are the gracious gifts of the Most High God, who, while dealing with us in anger for our sins, has nevertheless remembered mercy. It has seemed to me fit and proper that they should be solemnly, reverently, and gratefully acknowledged as with one heart and with one voice by the whole American people. I therefore invite my fellow citizens in every part of the United States, and also those who are at sea and those who are sojourning in foreign lands, to set apart and observe the last Thursday of November next as the day of thanksgiving and praise to our beneficent Father who dwelleth in the heavens." Ladies and gentlemen, fellow residents, happy Thanksgiving to you. God bless you this holiday season and in the new year. And we appreciate all your support and just being the best darn residents of the city that a city could have. Thank you.
Thank you. And then Councilmember Rue.
Yes, I will first start out, on our elections in Montclair. It is still a very close election. As of 4 o'clock this afternoon, and I will congratulate, unless the numbers change, Councilman Lopez in advance, 3,851 votes for 29.23% of the vote. Planning Commissioner Mendez, 3,205 for 24.33% of the vote. Mayor Pro Tem Johnson, 3,190 for 24.22% of the vote. And Vector Control Member Raft with 2,927 votes for 22.22%. So you can see how close those races are. There are several close races across, maybe not here in the Inland Empire San Gabriel Valley, but certainly in Orange County, there were several very, very close races that are still being decided. So when people say their vote doesn't count, indeed it does count. One vote can make a difference. Certainly here in Montclair, we've seen that since election night where the votes are going back and forth. And we probably will know by next week what the eventual outcome of that is. I attended a meeting in LA, took the Gold Line, by the way, always take that when I have meetings downtown, with the California Council of Real Estate. Without going into all of it, it was an all-day summit, a lot of very knowledgeable people, among them Mayor of Sacramento, Darrell Steinberg, former Senate Pro Tem leader. One of the statistics he brought up is that in California, we're losing young people 35 and under, not to the normal things you'd think about. Oh, it's taxes, it's this, it's that. No, because they can't afford to buy a house. We're losing that talent. They're going to other states where they can find a house that's a little less expensive. Maybe they take a little less pay, but they can do it. When we say we're looking out for the young people, the youth, and I hear that a lot across this city, we need to deal with the youth. If you care about the youth, let's make sure we can keep them here so that they can stay in the city in which they grew up. It means we're going to have to make some hard decisions. Yes, it means we're going to have to embrace affordable housing, which we're not very likely to do anytime soon. But if you want to keep those young people here, you have to do that. The prices of housing in California, I've seen the statistics. I won't go into all of it tonight. It's really outstripping anybody's ability to afford things. If you want a world owned by corporations, then go ahead and continue on the same path. I will mention tonight, and Mayor Dutre was there, a meeting last week on the Gold Line. We had the Gold Line Authority that met from 11 to about 12:30, the Gold Line JPA that meets right after from 12:30 to about 1:30. It's important to distinguish that. At the meeting of the Gold Line Authority, the one that met in the morning, everything was approved for the Gold Line from Claremont to Montclair. It was a momentous day. I really appreciate Councilmember Ed Reese in Claremont, who chairs that committee, who asked me if I would make the second. So therefore, it was the mayor of the council member in Claremont and the council member in Montclair, bookending this. Chris Holden was there, the assembly member who many call the father of the Gold Line. He talked about his many years of experience with this, his long push for this. He recognized several people in the audience who had been there from its first envisioning. He reminded me that I'd been there at every Gold Line hearing he had, probably missed one or two over the years, but it really truly was an emotional moment for all of us as we approved that. This is not just a way to move people through the region, it's jobs, it's good jobs. Not just the construction, in the actual operation of it. And I reminded everybody that many years ago when Ilda Solis was in Congress, we were talking about this. She said, it's my hope that it'll someday go to the Ontario airport. I said, mine as well. At the MTA meeting, and I know Mr. Mayor and I believe Councilmember Martinez was there, you heard the supervisor say how she wanted it to go to the Ontario airport. That is still something that's being looked at down the line. It will happen, I believe. I want to commend Supervisor Catherine Barger from LA, who worked funding to get the Gold Line to eventually go to the Hollywood Burbank Airport. As they're remodeling that airport, they're going to do something with that. If we can link it to the Ontario airport, think about having now world-class ability to move people through a region. In other parts of the world, that's a normal thing. We don't yet have a lot of density here to do some of the things. People would love a carless society. The car and the mass transit are complementary. They go hand in hand. But I really appreciate her efforts on that. I have no doubt that if we continue to push forward, the Gold Line will go to the Ontario Airport. Let's remember, before it could get to Montclair, it had to go to Claremont. Then it had to go to Montclair, and then to the Ontario Airport. I think we can do this. It may take longer than we want. As Ilda Solis said at the MTA meeting, she said, I hope I live long enough to see it. Supervisor, my friend, I think you will. It was a momentous day, and I know, Mr. Mayor, you were there. I know you have been behind some of this. There were many people who doubted, many people who were naysayers. There were people who said, who will ride it? Well, it's a line that is one of the most well-traveled lines. Something that was brought up, though, at the 11 o'clock meeting that somehow evaded a lot of people there until they heard it. MTA gave the statistic that on the Gold Line, the average income of a rider is $25,000. It's changed since the pandemic. These are the people we must serve. These are the working class families of our region who every day ride the train. They may not have the option of a car. They need a car to get to the station. And I think it behooves everybody who's involved with the Gold Line to make sure the services and the amenities are for those individuals. If you're making $250,000 a year, you're probably okay, may not need certain services. But if you're making $25,000 a year, you definitely need services on that line that will fit you, your family, and your income. And I think we can do that as we move forward. Lastly, I have to pull it up here. I usually have it every year. That John Kennedy said in his last Thanksgiving proclamation of November 5th, 1963, he said, on Thanksgiving, let us gather in sanctuaries dedicated to worship and in homes blessed by family affection to express our gratitude for the glorious gifts of God and to let us earnestly and humbly pray that he will continue to guide and sustain us in this great unfinished task of achieving peace, justice, and understanding among all men and nations, and in ending misery and suffering wherever they may exist. I concur with those words, and I will say to anybody, if you have a roof over your head tonight, no matter how humble, you are blessed. If you have some food in your cabinet, no matter how simple, you are blessed. If you have a little bit of money in the bank, you're extremely blessed. If you have friends and family, you are blessed beyond what you know. And I hope that we will take a moment at Thanksgiving as we gather with our family and friends, wherever you may be. As Councilman Lopez said, thinking of our military, our first responders, our nurses, our doctors in the hospital, but also think of the people you pass by every day who may live under a freeway bridge, who may live under a tree. They're human beings, and we need to try to do for them what we would expect we'd want done for us. Have a great Thanksgiving. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We have a committee minutes in the agenda. With that, we're adjourned.